What's going on, everybody? Counterattack here with not our review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. So, I originally planned to do one long critique or a series to thoroughly explain what I thought was good and bad about The Last Jedi. And more importantly, why I thought it was bad, since this movie's been divisive amongst fans and critics alike. While I was debating on what I wanted to do, I came across the YouTuber Mauler, who has a great 3-part series on The Last Jedi that basically covers all of the main issues that I had with the movie, and I don't want to rehash all of that since I'm kind of lazy, and you can just go watch his vids. The links will be down below. Just a heads up though, the combined runtime of his 4 videos, I want to say, comes in at something like 5 hours, maybe a little bit less. Moving on, I'm assuming you've seen The Last Jedi already. There are going to be some spoilers in this video, so there's your heads up. You've been warned. Instead of a review, like I said, this is going to cover why I'm excited to see the next and final installment to this trilogy, Star Wars Episode 9. But, you may ask, you didn't like Episode 8, why are you going to see Episode 9? That's really easy. I'm excited to see this movie the same way people get excited to see a train wreck happen, right? I don't know where they can go from Episode 8 and have a fulfilling closure to this trilogy. What are they going to do so 9 isn't just a huge dumpster fire? I mean, Snoke and Luke are dead. Mary Sue Ray's parents are nobodies, and she's already beaten Kylo Ren and Luke freaking Skywalker. The Last Jedi has forced Episode 9 into this weird corner where it doesn't have anywhere really interesting to go with the plot anymore, right? There's nothing really left to look forward to. The rematch between Kylo and Rey, there's no tension behind it since Rey's beaten him pretty handily and has shown that she's gotten way stronger in the Force, and her swordsmanship skills have gotten a lot better since the first movie. That really only leaves one thing that I can think of, and that's the Knights of Ren, which is kind of funny since Rian Johnson ignored them completely in 8, and they're really Episode 9's only hope to kind of be relevant and not just shit. There is a problem with that though. There's only one movie left to hash out any of their stories, and I don't think that's really enough time with just one movie to do it well without being... It's just going to be kind of shallow and rushed if they try to go into it, you know? The Knights of Ren were still Luke Skywalker's students. They still trained with him. They either turned to the dark side with Kylo Ren, or they were killed by Kylo and the other knights. Ignoring that probably wouldn't sit too well with some of the audience and some of the fans that were expecting or might expect something really interesting and deep from that. Now, putting that aside, they could try kind of a do-over for Episode 9, where it turns out that parts of The Last Jedi were a dream or fake or didn't happen or misremembered to some extent. This is like the lazy way out, but it would give J.J. Abrams more to work with story-wise and let him work around Carrie Fisher's real-life passing and Leia being one of the only real survivors from the original trilogy. And we're counting Chewbacca, who hopefully won't die in Episode 9. Whatever to make the next one palatable at this point is kind of what we're going for. I do have some questions about the universe as a whole, and if they're even going to get touched upon in the next one, or any of the upcoming Star Wars movies. Like, how does the Force actually work now? I used to have a pretty good idea, not so much anymore. Can anyone be a Jedi or a Sith now? Like, are you really moving forward with that? It's not just being Force sensitive, being born Force sensitive, more specifically. You just kind of got to train at it or get chosen randomly. Is the Force going to keep pumping out Force users to keep this so-called balance? What happens if you kill all of the Force users at once? Would you just create like this forever balance and the Force just goes away since the light and the dark are both at 0? I mean, that'd work. And it would just be a regular Star Trek series, I guess. I don't know. But that's one of the things I really hated about episode 8, honestly, is how it's handling the Force and how it's gotten and become this weird Deus Ex Machina just plot hole device. It's built in to allow writers to kind of do whatever the hell they want with the Force and the Force users if they just want to say, oh, well, this Force user can now do X skills and have X abilities because the Force says so, right? I mean, it allows for a lot of lazy writing, and I'm not really too fond of that. It'd be kind of interesting if all of a sudden this hobo eating out of a dumpster becomes this incredibly powerful Force user, or all of a sudden a panhandler or a hitchhiker or something like that. But I don't know. It's just kind of weird and lazy, and I'm not feeling it, because it takes a lot of the gravity out from even the prequels, where you had Anakin Skywalker trained for 2 full movies that span several years before you get to Revenge of the Sith, where he's a trained Jedi who's not getting his ass beat constantly, except in the end where he gets his ass beat and he's set on fire. So at this point, it's only out of morbid curiosity that I really want to see episode 9 to see what they try to salvage this with, how episode 8 has gone and how polarizing it has been, with a lot of praise and a lot of detractors on both sides. I mean, everyone's seen Rotten Tomatoes, where the critics have it at, I think it was 92%, and the fan score, the last time I saw it, was at 49%. That's a huge gap. I mean, The Last Jedi is currently the lowest rated Star Wars film that's been released so far. So out of the 8, it is dead last. Depending on how this plays out and what they decide to do with it is going to determine if I get excited for the future Star Wars movies that are coming out in theaters, or if the next trilogy or the next one-offs that come out after Han Solo, which is rumored to be a freaking train wreck, then it's really going to determine if I see these movies in theaters or if they become something to watch if it's on TV when I have nothing better to do on like a Tuesday night, right? That's all I got. Like, share, comment down below. Peace.
Gentlemen, the screwballs have spoken.